Another thing we have concerns the dolmens. Dolmens, you've seen dolmens, you know what dolmens are. Dolmens are megalithic monuments. All different types of dolmens are megalithic monuments. The simplest form is a simple dolmen, which is 2 or 3 upright stones and a flat stone on top of it. And they are conventionally dated right back to the early Stone Age. Okay? So, first of all, you get dolmens. You find dolmens all over the world, but especially in the land of Israel, in Jordan, Lebanon, a few in Syria, and the areas where the Muslim tribes, or the tribes of Israel once dwelt. Also find them a few in Turkey, Western Turkey, in the Caucasus Mountains, in Bulgaria, and after that in France, especially Brittany, in Spain and Portugal, in the Netherlands, in Denmark, northern Germany, Sweden. That is approximately where you find dolmens. You find a certain type of dolmen also in Korea, and in Japan, and in Ethiopia. The dolmens in those areas are usually flat roofed structures, whereas the dolmens in the land of Israel, and the dolmens in Western Europe, have a 23-degree incline on the roof. There are certain structural differentiations that allow us to associate them more with each other than with others. So they are connected. And we have, in Jeremiah 31:21, he speaks to them. He speaks to the lost in tribes according to the context. In Jeremiah 31:21, what does he say? He says, now I'm reading from the English translation, I'll explain it in a minute. Set up signposts, make landmarks, set your heart toward the highway, the way, the pathway toward the highway, the way in which you went. Turn back, O Virgin of Israel, turn back to these your cities. In other words, use these marks to know the way you came in, so that you may return by them. And what are these words, signposts and landmarks in Hebrew, what are they saying? Signposts is zionim. Zionim, often applied, even in modern Hebrew, to stone structures, memorial monuments, stone memorials. Tamurim also means landmarks as it is translated. It also come in high heaps, as it is sometimes translated. And the symbols, and this refers to the dolmens. Why? Because the dolmens were these structures with 2 or 3 walls and the rooftop, and on top of them or beside them they put up heaps of stones. In many cases, archaeologists or people in the course of time, people came and took the stones away, so you only see the basic structure. In some cases it remains, in some cases it may not have ever always been there. But that was a feature of them. These stone structures to mark something with heaps of stone around them, and that is the meaning of landmarks, tamurim, heaps of stones, heaps. Stone heaps marking something. And they do show paths of migration from the land of Israel to the north and to the west. Various pathways of migration that lost and tribes used to get to the west. And along the pathways they place these memorials. So these memorials are often dated way, way back, tens of thousands of years ago in the Stone Age. So first of all, we doubt the Stone Age didn't really exist, never existed, they have no real proof of it. And they do have proof that up until the Roman times, or after the Roman times, they were still setting up dolmens all over the place. And so the earliest dolmens can relate back to the earliest time of the Romans, or a little bit, not that long before them. That is a logical deduction. And eventually the scholars will agree with this. And there are sources now available that point in this direction. So that is the point we have. The Dolmens do show pathways of migration, as Jeremiah said they would, concerning the 10 tribes of Israel having gone from the land of Israel to the west. We also have that the lost 10 tribes would be in several oceans, different parts of the sea around the world. See Numbers 24:7 concerning the 10 tribes, concerning the lost the tribes of Israel in the end times, 24:7, Numbers. You shall pour water from his buckets. In the seed shall be in many waters, his offspring, and the offspring of Israel shall be many waters, many oceans. His king shall be higher than Agag, he shall be the most powerful country on earth. His kingdom shall be exalted, and that's what we find America and before America, Britain, they were the most powerful countries on earth. And they ruled the oceans, and still rule the oceans. America has a bigger navy than all the rest of the earth put together. There's nothing, and the Bible mentions it, talks of it, as if that is a sign of Israelites in the end times, and that is what we find. We also in the same source, Numbers 24, he describes the Israelites in the end times. He says God brings him out of Egypt. He has strength like a wild ox. And actually the name word translated as wild ox in Hebrew is lamb. Lamb actually means a unicorn. There were unicorns. Unicorns, according to our inquiries, originally meant an auroch, or one of the different types of beasts from which the mythology concerning a unicorn is derived was an auroch. What is an auroch? An auroch was a wild bull, known as a ram, and it was about twice the height of a normal bull. It was a gigantic beast. And they existed in ancient times in the Middle East and in Europe, in the forests of Europe, and there were still some in parts of Poland in the 1600s. A few hundred years ago they were still around. And they've been exterminated, but they existed. And the indications that there was a mutation, an auroch had 2 horns. But there are indications that certain subtype of aurochs, there's a certain mutation where the horns grew together, giving you 1 horn, giving you the unicorn. And that is where one of the sources where the idea of the unicorn came from, because there are also indications that this same mutation, this same phenomenon also occurred amongst other animals. So there were several sources for the idea of some type of beast with 1 horn on its head. And one of these animals was a ram. It says he has strength like a ram. He shall consume the nations, his enemies. He shall break their bones. He pierce them with his arrows. He bows down and lies down as a lion. The lion and the unicorn connected with Israel in the end times. The lion and the unicorn are the symbols of Britain, of the United Kingdom, a lion and a unicorn. And there's a lion who shall rouse him. Blessed is he who